Give everyone at your next event a super awesome mix with our mixtape cards. Each one comes with a personalized message and photo along with a QR code that takes them to your mix on whatever streaming service they use: Apple, Spotify, Amazon, or YouTube. They're perfect for birthdays, weddings, graduations, and even holiday cards. Go to superawesomemix.com/mixtapes and bring back the magic of the mixtape at your next special occasion. Welcome back to another Super Awesome Mix. My name is Matt Sidholm, alongside my co-host and co-founder of Super Awesome Mix, Sam Abu Salbi. Sam, how we doing this week?
Doing real well, as always. Thank you for asking. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It is the month of May. We've got some great new music. You know, this is the time of year, I feel like, where new music kind of picks up.
Yeah.
You know, and I looking at the list we had this month, I feel like there were a lot of big names and still some other big names that we probably didn't even include here. So, should be, like we say all the time, it's going to be another great year in music. It already has been a great year in music, but you're starting to see some bigger names come out with some new work.
Yeah, definitely. And this was a good exercise for me this month in particular, because really all I've been listening to is Like Jenny by by Jenny from Blackpink. That's been on repeat on my headphones, on Instagram, on TikTok, all the dances. I just can't get enough. I really want to be like Jenny. I do.
Well, I'm glad we were able to give you a break, just a little bit of a break from that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. I could use it.
Well, your first pick, you've got track one this month, and it is not Like Jenny. It is What Was That by Lorde.
Yes. Yeah. Lorde. It's going to be a Lorde summer. That's what I keep hearing, because last year was a Brat Summer by Charlie XCX. I think people are really excited about this one. So I could get it. I think Lorde with her new song sounds kind of like the OG sound of hers. Like, I didn't really like Solar Power. That just album never really stuck with me. I listened to it a little bit and that was that. Whereas I still listen to, like the original one and Royals and Ribs, and such a good first album. So this kind of it sounds like it's returning to that original sound from her. So I'm really, really excited to kind of hear more from her. This is like a really great breakup song. I know we had kind of a Getting Over Your Ex mix once upon a time. This could probably go on that, or at least this could go on the part of your like breakup journey right before you are over your ex, because this literally is like, what was that, right? You're just kind of like, you're exiting a relationship kind of, in a daze, and you're just really wondering, oh my gosh, like, what was that? So this is great. Yeah, I'm really excited, and I'm excited for the new album and eager to see if it's a return to form for her.
So Lorde has an incredible voice, and I loved in this one how it was kind of stripped down. It almost gave me a feel for something that Haim might produce, but without kind of the 3-part harmonies that you would expect from those three.
Yeah.
But it had that sort of feel for that song. And I think what's incredible is that this is a song where she's not like belting this out, right? It's almost like a little above talking, and yet it still sounds so melodic. And I think that speaks to how good her voice is. It's really, really impressive to kind of sing a song in this manner and still have it sound so good. So I really enjoyed this one, and you're right. Like, she's not happy about this relationship. And I think at this point, you're right as far as the stage goes, because it sounds like she's glad it's over and is really just questioning why it ever mattered to her.
Right, exactly. We can do a whole stage of breakup similar to that Bruce Springsteen album you told me about.
That's right. The Tunnel of Love album,
yes.
His follow-up to Born in the USA. Yeah, relationship from beginning to end.
Yeah, we'll have to do a Tunnel of Love mix one day. Every 3 songs is another stage. All right. Well, let's go on to your first pick, track number 2 on the mix, and that is End of the World by Miley Cyrus.
Yeah, so this is the second straight album from Miley Cyrus where I've brought on a single from hers. I brought on Flowers on a new music mix previously, and now End of the World. I've always thought she had a great voice. I mean, similar to Lorde, it's like that's kind of the constant here where you can listen to her and know why she's talented, even though, like I say all the time, a lot of these artists aren't, I'm not in a demo for them, right? Like, it's not like they're writing good music for me. But I just thought this was such a great pop song. It's got a great vibe for the summer. It's got a great vibe for graduation because we're in the month of May. That is upon us, so we want to pretend like it's not the end of the world, as she says over and over here.
Right.
And it probably works nowadays where everywhere you turn, people are telling you how awful everything is and how the world's about to end. So it's like, well, maybe we pretend that that's not the case. But, the vibe of this one, I think if you're someone more in my age demographic, I think you're going to listen to this one and hear kind of the Go-Go's and the Bangles and some, it's like an updated 80s sound from those girl groups that we had back then. And her voice is just perfect for that. And so I mean, the more I listen to this song, the more I'm like, man, this is such a great pop song.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, she's so good at pop, obviously. Top of her game in that world, but I really like this one. It's a good anthem song for sure. It's got that anthem energy. And I also just like the lyrics basically kind of suggest that, okay, like, let's say it is the end of the world. Wouldn't you just want to go and have fun with things and like let go and be a little bit more free, rather than just spend your last days really stressed out of your mind. So I think it's also a good message in that regard.
Yeah, I don't like the let's huddle up into a ball and rock back and forth sort of music.
Right,
like,
exactly.
I'm going to take more of Miley's stance. All right, track 3. I'm not going to call out the words here. I'll just read the initials because that's what's in the song title, but it is SWMF by Labyrinth.
Yes, you will. If you listen to the song in full, you'll quickly understand what these initials stand for. I will tell you the first two, and it's Star Wars. What's really funny is that my next two picks, including this one, or rather this pick and the next one, were both May 4th releases. So May the 4th be with you has become this whole Star Wars thing. And what's so fascinating is I feel like it's getting bigger and bigger every year. Maybe like Disney has figured out that they can just turn this into like one of their days, because ever since they bought Star Wars, they've just been cranking out Star Wars content, right? Like that's their whole thing. And so I'm going to predict this here. In a couple years, May 4th is going to be like a federal holiday. We're just going to have a federal holiday celebrating Star Wars. It's going to be great. Everyone's going to love it.
Well, we have a Space Force now, right? It's a branch of the military.
That's true.
So I mean, I feel like that would be a natural outcome of that. Yeah, you might be right. I do agree. More and more people sort of take to it now. But I also think it's kind of much more prominent now to tell people what a nerd you are.
Right.
Whereas when I was growing up, it was like, you don't want to be a nerd. Like, you want to be cool. Nowadays, it's like, you want to tell people that, you speak Klingon or whatever. And
yeah, like the Breakfast Club movie just wouldn't work today because everyone would be like, just feel like, what?
There'd be too much acceptance.
Right.
Yeah. It's like they would just kind of all get along within the first hour. And be like, no, that's okay. That's his journey.
Right. Right.
They'd all be hugging Bender and just, it just wouldn't.
It just wouldn't
work.
Make a good movie.
It'd be a bad movie. I'm out.
Yeah, it'd be a bad movie. But this is... So anyway, this song is a May 4th release and all about Star Wars. And it's just got that Labyrinth sound, just has that, his like kind of traditional elements, including the chorus, which he does really well. And that build up vibe and kind of just, mixing electronic sound with horns and all the good things that Labyrinth does all the time. So this is Sam or Bait for sure that I'm going to click play anytime I see Labyrinth with a new release.
So this one, when I started to listen to it, I immediately thought of the soundtrack to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which we've highlighted a couple songs from that soundtrack before on the mix. It's such an incredible soundtrack to what was really a great animated movie.
Yes.
And but this one reminded me of that. And at the beginning, you don't get the Star Wars reference at all. So it's like, I was like, oh, this is so cool that they recreated that vibe. And then it was cool to get the Star Wars tie-in. Okay, please don't write me anything. I know Star Wars and Spider-Man are different, all right, but it was just the fact that it was kind of, in the genre, if you will, of that. And again, people will probably be mad that I'm even associating the two, but I am. I think everyone knows what I mean.
You're reminding me of that clip from The Office where Jim is trying to get Dwight to jump into a conversation. And he's talking about like Lando Dumbledore or something. He's just mixing all of these different things.
Dwight's just clenching his fist, trying not to jump off sides and get angry with him.
Exactly. A shot-for-shot remake. So good. All right, well, let's go to your next pick. Another really big name here. This is Love Me to Heaven by Jonas Brothers.
Yeah, so speaking of great pop music, I think this is the first time the Jonas Brothers have appeared on Super Awesome Mix. So congratulations to them. They've written us a lot of notes, okay? They're friends of the show. We appreciate it, guys, and we're going to have you on at some point, but just not yet. My kids love their stuff, and it's not just my daughter. My son loves it too. So I think it speaks to how well they write a pop song, and they really are like good singers and I think talented musicians. Longtime fans of theirs remember the Disney movies, Camp Rock. And so like thinking about that and then just hearing more of their music just because I have kids, I think if they're not already working on it, I could see the Jonas Brothers kind of compiling their music into a musical at some point, right? And taking that to Broadway the way that you've seen other artists do, like Green Day or Billy Joel or whomever, just because I feel like their songs lend themselves to that, right? Like just if you're listening to it and you kind of think of it in sort of a musical setting, I think it works really well. So if they're listening or if someone's listening out there, I'm going to trademark that idea. Okay. So we should get a credit, right? Super Awesome Mix should get an idea credit when that all comes to pass. But that's going to be my prediction. You just made a prediction about May the 4th becoming a national holiday. I'm going to say at some point we get a Jonas Brothers musical.
Yeah, I could definitely see that happening. I can see a world in which there's a Jonas Brothers musical, because there's a musical on just about anything, to be honest. Between Broadway and off-Broadway, there's a lot of musicals. So just throw another one in the mix. Just throw another one in there.
Not being in New York City, I guess I get less exposure to sort of the musical scene. So yeah, maybe you're right. There probably are a lot of them out there, but I don't know. Here I thought it was a bold prediction, but I'm just a guy from Middle America. What do I know, right? All right. All right. So when I listened to your previous track, I obviously didn't immediately get the Star Wars reference, but when I saw the title of your next track, I was immediately connected to Star Wars. So track 5 is Duel of the Fates, and it's by Apache.
Yes, another guy who makes a lot of appearances on New Music Mix because I'm obsessed with him. He's a Belgian DJ. His remixes are incredible. And the thing that I love the most about him that he does, very similar to Labyrinth, in fact, is that he will blend in actual orchestral elements into his songs. And so the way I got introduced to this song was actually at a live event of his where he played with a live orchestra to create this song, which worked so well. And I love it for so many reasons. One, Duel of the Fates is one of the best John Williams pieces ever. It's iconic at this point. I've watched that scene a million times when it first comes on in Phantom Menace. It's the only redeemable thing of Phantom Menace is that moment where the doors open and Darth Maul is there and he turns on that double lightsaber and you're like, what is happening? And it's so good. Great moment in cinema history. But yes, I think what's also really fascinating about this and what I love is really thinking about the mix of electronic music being blended with orchestra, and orchestral music. Can you think of two other musical things that are further apart in years from when, classical music started to electronic music today, right? And yet they work well together and are blending here in these mixes. And I think that that's really fascinating. So love this remix. I think is really cool. And it just gets me fired up for sure.
That's a great point, actually, on the sort of mixing of old and new just across a span of time. That's kind of fascinating to think about. I agree with you, though. I think it works, and I think it absolutely works here. It's funny you mentioned the scene in Phantom Menace because a question I wrote down is this the best thing to come out of episode one? So I think you and I were in alignment there on our feelings about that movie and feelings about this song. But you're right. It's amazing. I love listening to John Williams as kind of like my focus music. I love doing that. And he's soundtracked so many great movies. And actually, we mentioned Disney Plus earlier. If you're going to watch something there's a great documentary on John Williams and his life and his career in soundtracking television and movies. And it's awesome to see. And just the work he's done is just incredible. But this is great. And Apache does a great job here of just kind of taking it to another level, which you wouldn't think you need to with something like Duel of the Fates, right? But he does here, and I just think it's awesome. And this was a really cool surprise, and I wish he would do like a whole album of stuff by John Williams.
Yeah, that would be an amazing, amazing compilation. All right, well, we're going to take a really hard vibe shift, and we're going to go take you from Apache to Heaven Passing Through by Turnpike Troubadours.
Yeah, Turnpike Troubadours is considered like alt country or just country. We featured them on the mix before back in season 1. Our guest John Bentley had brought them on as part of his mix. I just love the lyrics here. I know you may not love the sound of this one, but the lyrics really struck me. I've come back from the darkness somehow, finally living in the here and now. And then don't take it personal. The world don't turn around you. Hold on to the moment like it's heaven passing through. And I don't know, it just kind of struck me because I feel like the more present you are, the happier you're going to be. And like the more my kids grow up, from time to time, you just kind of have these moments where you step out of yourself and just admire whatever it is that's happening, because you realize there's just a million moments like this that are just incredible, but it is just a moment, right? You just kind of have to take it in and sort of realize what's happening as it's happening. So I just thought it was great. It was a great song. It was a really well-written song. And, you may not love the country sound of it, but I do think it's a well done track.
Yeah, no, this one, I really like the storytelling element. I really like the hold on to a moment like it's heaven passing through. And just like you said, that sense of, being in the present and the magic of being in the present can be really powerful. This one, because it's a country song, obviously I have my Olympic scale. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. I think this was actually pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's higher than I expected it to be.
Yeah.
I will be honest with you. I thought it might score a little lower, so we'll take
it.
Yeah,
no, it earned some points just because I like the storytelling. So
nice. All right, track 7. Okay, you've got Vacay by, I'm going to mess this up, Amine?
Yeah, I think that sounds like how you might say it. I'm not going to attempt it myself. So Vacay by this talented artist is it's just a great, I think it's a great summer vibe, right? Song. Obviously the element here is all about vacation. For me, the song really sold me in that opening verse where he's singing somewhere sunny, sweating with 2 spritz in my tummy. I'm eating ravioli and the pizza with the honey. I'm oh for the week, you dummy, which is great. I really, really love that. And just the oh for the week, you dummy is great because I'm sure we've all had that experience where, you put it on your calendar, you do your email reply, you mark yourself off on Slack, you tell everyone you work with, I'm going to be out of the office, in the little status.
Right.
And still someone's going to reach out to you or send you a message. And you're just like, oh my goodness, why? Like, why? Why are you like this?
Can you jump on this call in 30 minutes? Right. It's the middle of the night. I'm in Europe. Right. So no?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with hard no. But yeah, I just think it's a nice little song to prep you for summer, and get you ready for that vacation you're gonna take. So I just wanted it here as like a fun little pre-summer track.
Totally agree. Yeah, this was a great. It's pretty straightforward. Like he's just describing a great vacation. But I just thought it was so well done and fun, and the pace is great, and he kind of hits on just about everything you might do on a vacation. So no matter what you like to do on vacation, I think you're going to connect to something on this song. Also, he mentions a masseuse named Carolyn. So I imagine there is an actual masseuse named Carolyn out there that is like probably feeling pretty good that she got the shout out here.
Yeah.
So, so good on her. That's what I say. I mean, that you're good enough to be like, I'm writing this song and I got to get something to rhyme with Carolyn, because that's not an easy rhyme.
No, that's not an easy rhyme. That's true. All right. Well, speaking of words that rhyme, this next track actually works really well, and it's Words and Birds by the -5.
Yeah, so the -5, I was not familiar with these guys. But the through line here is Scott McCaughey, who is part of another band called Young Fresh Fellows. And he's working with Peter Buck, who I do know from a band called REM. And originally they had formed back in like 1989 with John R. and Ken Stringfellow of the Posies, who 90s music fans should remember the Posies. So they've been around for a long time, which is like really cool. And they have like a dozen albums. So it's actually kind of fascinating that I've never come across them. But then it's also kind of, they're sort of rock music, but they're not hard rock. They're kind of poppy, but not conventional pop. So it's like they don't have a genre. And so I think for a couple decades, they probably just didn't have a radio station that would play their music. But I've actually gone back and already listened to their first couple of albums, and I mean they're great. Like I'm really going to enjoy diving in here to all their music. But this one's fun. It's all about birds and words, and they kind of do some great rhyming. Some people say birds aren't real, but it sounds like the -5 believes in birds, and I just think they have a really cool sound. And it's probably like alt rock +1, right? It's probably alt rock, but just a little bit closer to maybe pop than people realize. And so I encourage you to give these guys a shot.
Yeah, it's funny you were mentioning the genre. I came up with happy rock, and that's what I'm going to call this. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like
happy
that.
rock.
I think we should come up with more genres on this show. Like I had hip hop last week,
Right.
and I think happy rock is another good one.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, and these can just be future mixtapes that we put together. All our favorite happy rock songs and hip hop. It's funny you mentioned REM, which is very similar to the other band I thought of when I listened to this. I thought of They Might Be Giants. That was kind of the vibe that I was getting, which I think could definitely be like a happy rock element or another band as well in that mix.
Yeah. And like just going back and listening to a couple of albums of theirs, like they're not as jokey as like They Might Be Giants, but I do agree. It's got kind of a similar vibe, and you're right. I just love that description. Happy rock. I think you kind of nailed it. Yeah. All right. Your next pick, track 9. It is Never Enough by Turnstile.
Yeah, Never Enough. So this one is cool because like the opening sound doesn't tell you really what the genre is going to be, and then it turns into like a great rock song. You have kind of like the drums kick in and then great guitar play. So I like that. I like songs that kind of like start one way and then end up turning in the middle of them. So great little build up into the next song too. So this is like track 1 on their upcoming album. Track 2 at the time of this recording has not been released, but it very evidently is going to blend into track 2 because it started to build up, and then it just moved on to the next mix or the next song in this mix, and I was very confused. So I imagine it's one of those ones that just leads you right into the next track. But yeah, I just thought this was like a kind of a great rock song. The message here is like it's never enough, which is the opposite of my message I try to tell you on Super Awesome You. You are enough. So don't let yourself get down listening to this song. You are enough. You are.
Yeah, that was the message I grew up with, right? Like from my parents. Right. It's just never quite good enough. Yeah.
Never enough.
But never enough. Totally agree with you. I loved this one, how it just shifted you in a lot of different directions. And you're right. It was about the minute 15 mark when those guitars kick in and it just completely changes to more of a rock song, which I thought was really cool. And it reminded me that this seems like something that it's like a modern day Queen song, right? Mm-hmm. Like if Queen was still making music, I feel like something like this might be what they come up with. that has that rock feel, but also just some different elements to it. So yeah, I don't know. It was really unexpected because I think it started one way and it sat there long enough to kind of get you thinking that, okay, this is what this track's going to be. And then it just completely shifts, which is really cool. So yeah, it really, really interesting track.
Nice. All right. Your second to last pick, and it is Walk This Road by the Doobie Brothers featuring Mavis Staples.
Yes, it is those Doobie Brothers, what you're thinking of.
That was my
right?
first question that I was going to ask you. Yeah.
Right. Is it like the Doobie Brothers? Yeah. Yeah, as Jen and I are getting ready for next season of The Battle, where we're going to focus on yacht rock, of course, the Doobie Brothers are on my mind, but had no idea they were still making new music. Still features Tom Johnston and Patrick Simmons, who were original members, along with maybe their most notable member, Michael McDonald. Here they get some help from Mavis Staples. I mean, look, these guys are older, and this song sounds like kind of how it used to sound.
Right.
And so this is something where it's very much, it's a period piece, if you will, right? Like this is a classic rock kind of sound to it, classic soft rock, if you will. But I mean, it still sounds good. Like Michael McDonald sounds good, Mavis Staples sounds good, and the message is about kind of being there for each other. So it's a positive song, and I just thought it was well done. And sometimes artists come out with new music, and frankly, it's just not very good. And a lot of it is the vocals just aren't there, the sound just isn't there, and I think they still have that.
I agree. Yeah, this was just like a pleasant track, if you will, to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the verb that I use, or the adjective that I use to describe this. It was pleasant. I liked it. Yeah, and the lyrics are nice too.
All right. So speaking of classic rock, I think these guys kind of nailed that feel to it. Your last track, it is Phantom Island by, and I always love reading this, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
Yeah, I mean, that's literally why I'm going to always include their new music, is because it's just so fun to say their band name. Wherever you are, listener, just say it out loud. It just rolls off the tongue. It's so fun. King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. It's great. Yeah, so this song was actually released like a little bit ago, but it's going to be featured on their new album that is coming out in June, which is basically like 10 cut songs from their last Flight B471 album with an orchestra added to it. So they're just even having a lot of fun. I feel like this band just has a lot of fun with music. They released like 5 albums in the course of 1 year recently. I remember us talking about that. So they're just cranking things out and seemingly to, having a lot of fun doing it. But yeah, this one is just someone in the comments on Genius said it was like listening to the opening of a 1940s Disney movie or something, right? Like it just has this, and I think that's exactly right. It just has this kind of feel to it that you're about to be introduced to like an old-timey movie, almost like you are in the overture of an orchestra, and then it turns into this like really fun kind of jazzy mix that you just kind of find yourself grooving to. And I loved it. I loved every second of this song. I just thought it was really cool, and these guys are great for just kind of experimenting with music. So I'm excited for this album.
I love that description, and the name of that movie could be Phantom Island.
Right,
you could hear that. Yeah,
that's true.
It's perfect. I think this song just had such a great throwback feel to it, and I had vibes from like the 70s kind of, with just the different directions it was taking with music. But I mean, these guys, I think, always have fun with it. And I think it's cool. We've talked about this before. As bands go along and they get a little bigger, and from a production standpoint, they could sort of add things to the mix. And for some bands, that actually kind of makes their music worse because their initial sound was kind of what made you sort of fall in love with them. But in this case, like you said, they have a lot of fun with the music, and I think they're just bringing more elements to it, like a chef with access to more ingredients. And I think they're just adding more to it, which I think in this case really works well. So this is great. And I love hearing the description of that new album because that makes me want to listen to it. Right. Like, I'm just like, oh, okay, there's more of this. Yes, I want in on that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I agree. Should be really interesting. All right, the last track on the mix, number 12, it is Goner by Waves.
Yeah, and that's Waves with 2 V's. Okay, important to note there if you're doing a search. These guys are considered, I guess, surf rock. They are out of San Diego, and they've been around since 2008, but this is the first time I've come across them. New album's called Spun, but this is, their sound reminds me of something like, Newfound Glory or Simple Plan. I mean, they're maybe not the greatest vocalists ever, but it's kind of they have a great rock band vibe to it. This one, I mean, again, nothing complex about the lyrics. I mean, it's gone, you're a goner. Like this woman's not coming back. At least they don't think so. There's a great little clapping breakdown at the end that kind of breaks up sort of the, guitar and rock vibe of it. But yeah, it's kind of a fun song. It's an energetic song. Maybe not the happiest lyrics, but at the same time, I think their sound just works. And this new album, I think, is going to be really good.
Yeah, I agree. This one, the band that came to mind was Sum 41, which is right in that same kind of space as what you mentioned. And I believe the music producer on this one is Travis Barker. So that totally makes sense. That it all comes together.
I love when it all makes sense. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I agree with you though. It's just like a great guitar alt rock song. Like they could absolutely be, if they'd come out 20 years ago, they would be touring with all those bands you just mentioned. So it's a nice track. I like it.
All right. Well, there you have it. Another super awesome mix for your collection. This time, new music for the month of May. Believe it or not, I mean, that's about almost halfway through the year, which is just wild to think about. So we've got plenty of new mixes to work on, new music mixes and other mixes. So Sam and I will get to work on that. Check us out on social media, Instagram and Threads at Super Awesome Mix, as well as YouTube. We're posting a lot of videos, stuff from past episodes, stuff from new episodes, stuff from all our shows. So check us out on YouTube, like and subscribe and share all of those things because it just helps more people find the show. So as always, Sam and I will get to work on our next mixes. And for Sam, this is Matt, and we'll see you next time. Super Awesome Mix is brought to you by DLM. Make shopping easy with DLM, the one-stop shop for all your casual clothing needs. Shop DLMsupplyco.com and enter the promo code AWESOME at checkout to save 15% off your first purchase. That's DLMsupplyco.com.